In the massive, super complex world of enterprise billing, it's often the simplest little controls that prevent absolute chaos. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most important ones, the configuration status. It might sound kind of technical, but trust me, it's the simple gatekeeper that protects the company from some truly disastrous financial errors. So let's explore how this whole lock and key system really works.
Just picture this for a second. A world where one person, making one tiny accidental change, I'm talking a single typo in a line of billing logic, could end up costing a company millions of dollars, overnight. Yeah, this isn't science fiction, it's the high-stakes reality of modern enterprise billing.
So that brings us to the big question, right? In a system where you have to make changes, where new products are always launching and prices get updated, how do you build a safety net? How do you possibly stop one small, well-intentioned update from spiraling into a total company-wide billing crisis?
And the scale here is just staggering. We're talking about systems that are processing these huge volumes of transactions every single day. So even a teeny tiny error, like misplacing a decimal point by a fraction of a cent, can cascade into a multi-million-dollar problem when you multiply it across millions of transactions. This isn't just about getting one invoice wrong, it's about a massive systemic risk.
Okay, so to really understand the solution, we first need to get a handle on the basic building block of any invoice. Before we can see how the system protects itself, we need to know what exactly it's trying to protect. And that brings us to the billable item. The simplest way to think about it is as just one single line on a grocery store receipt. That's it. It's the smallest possible charge that's just sitting there, waiting to be processed and put onto a final invoice. It could be anything, a monthly subscription fee, a charge for data usage, maybe a one-time service cost. Okay, so if the billable item is the line on the receipt, what defines what that line can even look like? What are the rules it has to follow? Well, that's where our second building block comes into play, the blueprint. This is what's called the Billable Item Class. And really, it's the master template. It defines literally everything about a potential charge, what information it has to contain, its data structure, how it behaves in the system. If the billable item is the house, the billable item class is the architect's super detailed blueprint.
So how in the world do you control these all-important blueprints without grinding the entire business to a halt? Well, the solution is surprisingly elegant. You just give them a status. A simple, clear label that acts as this powerful gatekeeper, telling everyone and everything what can and cannot be done.
This whole gatekeeper system works as a really clear, logical life cycle with 3 distinct stages. Every single version of a blueprint or a billable item class will pass through these states, first in processing, then released, and finally obsolete.
All right, first up is in processing. Think of this as the draft stage, or the workshop. When a developer is creating a new billing rule or tweaking an old one, the system sets it to this status. It's basically a safe sandbox where the blueprint can be changed, tested, and refined, all without any risk of it accidentally being used for a real customer.
Now, once that blueprint is perfect, it's been tested, it's been approved, it gets promoted to released. A released version is locked down. It cannot be changed. This is now the official, live version. It's the source of truth that the system uses to generate real charges for real customers.
And in a live system, this status is so much more than just a label. It is a hard lock. It's the clear visual signal for everyone and for every automated process that this configuration is final and it's actively shaping how customers are being billed right now. There's just no ambiguity.
So let's put them side by side, because this is where it really clicks. On one hand, you've got in processing. It's flexible, it's isolated, it's totally safe for development. It's the creative space. On the other hand, you have released, which is rigid, official, and it's the very engine of your company's revenue. It's the operational reality. And this separation, this is the absolute core of the whole safety mechanism.
So what happens when a billing rule is retired? Well, it's moved to obsolete. An obsolete version can't be modified or used for any new business, but, and this is important, it isn't deleted. It's kept in the system as a historical record, which is absolutely vital for things like auditing and understanding past invoices.
Okay, so let's tie this all back to that million-dollar typo we talked about at the very beginning. Why does this simple 3-stage status system matter so much? This simple status control is the answer. It's how we solve that million-dollar typo problem. It ensures stability by literally locking down live rules from accidental changes. It prevents errors by building a wall between unfinished work and the live production system.
It also creates a perfect audit trail of every single version, which is absolutely crucial for compliance and for sorting out customer disputes. This is the framework that lets you innovate without risking your core business.
So the bottom line is that a simple status field provides this incredibly robust framework for control and for safety. But it does leave us with a pretty fascinating question. As our business systems get smarter and more automated, powered by AI and machine learning, what will the gatekeepers of tomorrow even look like? It's a critical question as we head into a much more automated world. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.